Hi, and welcome to the Lunar Lounge, where moonlight meets the microphone. I'm your host, Luna, and I'm here to take you on a journey of self-love and healing. So sit back, relax, and get all cozy, and join me for an evening filled with a little bit of silliness tonight. Hi, how are you? I've missed you. I've missed this. Life has been a little, shall we say, crazy lately. It's certainly been crazy for me. But how are you? Are you taking care of yourself? Staying hydrated? Eating your vegetables? Whatever you need to do to feel good, happy, healthy, and taken care of? I hope you're doing things to treat yourself well. I know how stress can be a lot, how life can be overwhelming. So please, be gentle with yourself. You deserve it. So what's new with me? Let's see. Life has been lifing. I cut all my hair off because I thought, you know what? I've always wanted a mullet. So now I have one. And it's puke green in the front, and it makes me happy. And if you don't know what a mullet is, it's, well, shorter in the front and longer in the back. It's a big change, and it makes me really happy. Loads of layers and just so much easier to deal with, especially when the heat is unbearable, like it has been lately. It's been insane here. Like, extreme high temperatures, smoky, gross air, and just so much has been happening. So we had a tornado 2 weeks ago. Like a little mini one. It wasn't like even a big one, but it's a tornado. Scary, right? It's not like where I live is somewhere that gets tornadoes, by the way. Like, not something common that happens here ever. But we had one. And there was some damage, but it could have been worse. So everybody's pretty lucky. Nobody was hurt or anything. Well, last night there was a huge storm, and lightning hit the hills around me and caused this huge, massive fire. Half the town was evacuated, and oh my gosh, it was crazy, to be honest. I didn't know if I was going to have to pack up my cats and ducks and go stay somewhere, because it was scary and getting close, but it's contained now, and everything is okay, and we're safe, which is really good, and nobody was hurt. It did come close to some farms, but we haven't been told exactly what kind of damage there is yet, so hopefully everything's okay. It was so quick. It's so dry out here, and the extreme heat didn't make anything easier, and then the wind kicked up, and before we knew it, it had just spread. And if you kind of picture it, where I live is basically like a bowl, and we're in the middle, and the hills around us are like the sides of the bowl, and just seeing the flames come up over the hills and come closer to us and kind of all around us, oh my gosh, it was so terrifying. But yeah, it's over now, so all I have to deal with is gross, smoky air for hopefully not much longer. So yeah, other than that, I don't know, all of this like extreme weather and crazy stuff going on, it's made my brain, well, be my brain. I read somewhere in the news that like Texas had something like 61 earthquakes in the span of 6 days. You heard me right. 61 earthquakes in the span of 6 days. And my initial thought was, okay, so Texas is just trying to like shake itself loose from the US at this point and just become an island, because what else could it be doing? You know? But then I got to thinking, and I was like, what if, and this is hypothetical, it's all like end of days stuff, you know? Like, why not? Global warming, right? Scary. So me being me, I took it a step further. And you know, everybody always thinks about like what they would do in an apocalypse type scenario and how they would protect themselves and their family and stay safe and stuff. And I thought, what about a bucket list of like things that I want to do if there's no rules and it's a lawless time and nobody cares anymore because, you know, it's the end of days. So I made a bucket list. And I'm going to share it with you because I want this episode to be a little bit more lighthearted. You know, it might not be the longest episode either, but just something less serious than normal because the world is obviously on fire right now, and I think we all deserve a little bit of a break to just be silly. So, my end of days bucket list. Number 1, I would like to break some windows, like throw rocks in windows. Like you always see people in movies or in TV shows, and they're like throwing rocks in windows, and I've always wanted to do that, but I, didn't want to get in trouble, so I haven't. But oh my gosh, end of days, I am throwing rocks in windows. So if you hear breaking noises, it's probably me, okay? I'm not going to apologize for it. Okay, number 2, I would like to steal a car. Again, I blame movies and TV, but no like hot wiring, because I don't want to electrocute myself. I am not qualified for that. I'm not even going to try. But like going into a dealership and just taking a set of keys from whatever car and then driving it off the lot, who cares? Because it's the end of days, right? I don't even know if that would be considered stealing at that point, because nobody cares anymore. But I want to do it. Like any car, anything, just take it, Along the line of car-related things, I would like to be able to hit every single road cone that I have had to avoid my entire life. Because I'll be driving down the street and I'll see road cones and my intrusive thoughts go, hit them all. And I'm like, no, I have to be a responsible driver. I can't just swerve and hit road cones on purpose. But I want to. So end of days, if I see road cones, I'm running them over because it doesn't matter anymore. Because nobody cares and it's a lawless country. So, road cones are on my list. Okay, this one kind of, I don't know, goes without saying, but I want to explore places that I was not normally allowed in. Okay, hear me out. Mail rooms, like in the post office, the emergency room, the fire station, the police station, like the back of grocery stores. Yeah, I know what they look like. But I've never been allowed back there. The stock rooms of grocery stores, I've been back there, but not my local ones. And I'm curious. I'm a curious little kitten. I gotta know what's in there. I want to read people's mail. I want to be Snoopy. I want to know. Now, obviously, it depends on what sort of apocalypse we're talking here, because keep in mind, if there are zombies involved, I'm obviously not going to go to emergency room. That is how you get bit. But, hypothetical generic scenario, I want to explore places that I was never allowed to explore before. I would like to loiter and trespass. Because it doesn't matter, right? Okay. Along those lines, I want to loot. Okay? I want to loot. I have played so many zombie apocalypse, end of world sort of games, and you know what my favorite thing about them is every single time? Looting. That's right. Looting. Going through things, collecting things, exploring. I love it. I want a big old backpack where I could just stuff things in there that I will apparently need later. Med kits and batteries. Like, why not? So yeah, looting is on my list. And I know it goes without saying, you're going to be looting, it's the apocalypse, but it's weirdly something on my list because I want to do it really bad. And if I'm being totally honest, I feel like the closest I've ever come to looting in real life is thrift stores. So I need to loot. I deserve it, okay? Along the lines of being kind of in places that I'm usually not supposed to be in and looting, I would like to go in my neighbors' homes and see how those people lived, this is how you chose to decorate. These are the things you have. I know it's weird, but you ever just been curious about how your neighbors' houses are on the inside? Not just things you would see when you come and say hi, but all of their house. I want to look. I want to explore. So, yeah, that's on my list. I know this makes me sound like a total creep. I know, but listen, I swear, if it's not the apocalypse, I'm not looking through my neighbors' houses. I'm not that kind of weirdo. I'm a different kind of weirdo. Okay, what else do I have? Okay, this This doesn't sound like something that someone would probably normally have on this kind of bucket list. However, I want it on there. Okay, so I would like to dance around a giant bonfire. Like, in the middle of the road, I just lit like chairs and random things on fire and I'm dancing around it. Not just like, oh, I put a little fire in my backyard, yay. No, I want like a bonfire in the road or somewhere that there shouldn't be a bonfire, you know? And just enjoy it. Just throw whatever on it. And speaking of burning things, since it's a lawless, ruleless time where nothing matters, I'm gonna burn money. I know. But hear me out. It doesn't matter in the end of days anymore. Money is irrelevant. You know what's money in the end of days? Batteries and med packs. So guess what? We're burning money. Because I've always wanted to, you know? Like, there's always this stuff that you want to do and you're like, I can't do that. You know, because you got to spend money to live and there's things that are considered faux pas. So you can't do it. But if there's no rules, who cares? These last few things are things that are very, very specific to me as a person. And if you know me, you will in no way be surprised by what I'm about to say. So these are the last 3 things I have on the list, okay? Number 1, I would like to go around and release all of the animals, okay? Because where I live, there's a lot of farmers and horses and goats and sheep and cows and chickens and you name it, okay? So I would like to release them all. But number 2, I would like to gather them all up and make them mine. They are now my animals. They're mine. They're all my babies and I love them. And then number 3, I would like to leash some of them up and take them for walkies. You know, things you wouldn't normally see, like ducks on a leash. That would be something I would do in the end of days. Just walking weird animals around. Because why not? You know? Just this giant farm of weird animals all hanging out together. It's weird that's my end of days bucket list, but hey, what would you add to it? Because I'm curious. Like, there's no rules, there's no one breathing down your neck, you can do anything you want. For this scenario, we'll say no zombies or weirdness like that. Just standard end of days. Maybe you just wake up one day and you're like one of the only people left on the planet. What are you doing? What's something you always wanted to do and you couldn't before? That's what I want to know. So if you feel like it, please do comment. Let me know, because I'm curious what other people would do. Because according to some people in my life, I'm a pretty tame person if all I want to do is break windows and go in my neighbor's houses or something. So yeah, let me know. I'm curious. So the next thing I was thinking was, you know how the Olympics are in full swing right now? Well, it got me thinking. Say the apocalypse happens, like right now, while the Olympics are going on. Who do you think would survive better? You know, like gymnasts or swimmers or tennis players. So I thought what we would do is rate them, because why not? So I have this little scale so that we can make a tier list. And on the tier list, we're going to say, like, top ones are the ones that definitely could survive the zombie apocalypse or regular apocalypse. And the bottom of the tier is the ones that probably don't have the best skill set. Even though they're athletes and they're great, they're not exactly the type of person that you would want to have around in the end of days, to have on your dream team, if you will. So let's get started. Let's see. Okay, so the first one, I'm going to go ahead and classify all of some of them together because there's a lot of categories in the same event, like gymnastics and swimming, okay? The first one we have is artistic or synchronized swimming. And for me personally, I will put this in F tier on the very, very bottom, okay? Now, listen, I know what you're thinking. Swimmers, they're strong, they have good endurance, but we're not living in water world here, okay? So they can't exactly swim away. Like we're on land, okay? If in a hypothetical situation that this gross river that they're swimming in right now turns them into some sort of superhuman mutants, then yeah, maybe they would move up. But for me personally, I don't consider swimming to be high up on the list of survivability in the apocalypse. I consider it to be pretty low. And that includes all swimming, not just synchronized swimming. Yeah. Like diving, right there in the bottom. How is that going to save you in the end of days? I don't know. Do they have better lung capacity? Does that mean they can survive certain things better? Probably. But in this situation, we're just going to put them at the bottom, all swimming together. Okay. Next, we have badminton. I want to say, badminton. Okay. So badminton's kind of like, I don't know, tennis with a little tiny, you know what? I'm not an athletic person, so you're going to forgive me right now if I say things wrong, because whatever. But it's like tennis, but teeny. Teeny tennis, okay? To play that, you have to be fast and have good upper body strength. So I'm going to put them in like B tier, just because I think they would be good for like supply runs and stuff, like they're quick and they're agile. So I think a badminton player would be pretty good. Basketball, I'm probably going to put basketball with badminton. Anything that's like that kind of sport, like tennis, badminton, table tennis, any of that's probably going to go in the same tier together, because I know there's athletes out there that are going to be really mad at me, but I kind of feel like they're all the same kind of classification. Like, you have to be quick on your feet, but also you have to be kind of strong and, have good reflexes kind of thing. So I feel like those should all just kind of go together. Next we have general athletics, shot put kind of athletics, I guess, just like general. And I'll probably put those, I'll say A, because they're pretty strong. I mean, yeah, like pole vaulters and stuff, they really got to jump and run, So I kind of want to say I want to put them in A tier. Just like only a little bit above, like badminton, table tennis people. Not like a ton, but I feel like they would have a pretty good chance. Like hypothetically, say they're being chased by like a swarm of mutant creatures in the end of days. If they have to like run and jump over a fence, those pole vaulters, they're good. They're fine. They have nothing to worry about. They're surviving, They could be the next evolution of humans. I don't know. So yeah, I'm going to say they're pretty high up there. Okay. Fencing. Okay, fencing for me, fencing is a pretty useful skill set. However, you can lose your sword. There's like close quarters fighting where like sword fighting isn't always the easiest. Oof. I mean, I think it would be better than having like a pistol, because then you would need ammunition. So fencing would kind of be better in that aspect. And you do have to be quick on your feet and anticipate your opponent. So I kind of want to put fencing maybe in like B tier, but like towards the end, because it's kind of mid-ground for me. Like it could kind of go either way. Like knowing me, just who I am as a person, if I was like in fencing, I would just lose my sword at some point, and then I'd just be like using a stick. And then what would the point be, So it's hard. I would say midway. Okay. Baseball and softball we'll put in B tier with the rest of them, as well as beach volleyball. Beach volleyball is actually going in D tier. Hear me out. How is that valuable? It's the end of days. I mean, I guess they're really good at running on the sand. It's beach volleyball. I don't know what else to do with it. Boxing. Boxing is going in A tier. Because it's boxing. I mean, they can definitely defend themselves if necessary. And, quick on their feet, which is good. Mountain biking, cycling, road cycling, all of the bicycle stuff. I'm going to put that in probably next to fencing in B tier. Just because, cyclists have like the hugest thighs and calves in the world. So they are getting out of here. But I also feel like you could lose a bicycle. But a bicycle is probably way more reliable than a car. Batteries can die. They can get stuck in traffic. But bicyclists seem like they're quite a bit more maneuverable. So I'm going to put them in B tier. I think that's a good place for them. Okay, same line of thought. We have the equestrian events. The horses, okay? I feel like your horse will run away. You will be looting for supplies or negotiating with bandits, and your horse will run away. Also, you have to worry about feeding your horse and taking care of your horse. I feel like the bicycle's a little bit better. They're both better than a vehicle, obviously, but I'm going to put the horsies in C tier. Just because I feel like a loud noise or a horde or something, and that horse is going to be gone. Or someone could steal it, or the unmentionable could happen and you run out of food. And I don't want to eat a horse, okay? So we're going to say no. That's going right in C tier. Okay. Archery. Archery, I feel, is really good. And I don't have anything in S tier yet. And I don't know if I would put archery in S tier. But unlike shooting, again, you don't have to worry about ammo as much. I mean, you could always go and retrieve your arrows, except that you only have a limited amount, no matter what. So it's kind of hard. I think I'll put archery in B tier. Like, it would be useful to have, but you'd really have to hit like a hunting supply store and get like a really good supply of arrows, or make your own arrows if you know how to do that. And yeah, you could just, what if the bow breaks? You'd have to know how to repair it. You know, I mean, we're talking athletes here, so I would hope they would know how to do all of this stuff. And they're pretty accurate, so we're putting them in B tier. But average people, I don't think would be that great. Football, or soccer, as everyone in the world but the United States calls it, I'm going to put them in C tier because fast, obviously, strong, and can take a hit. So I don't feel like it's like the strongest skill set for the end of days, but I don't think it's the weakest. I feel kind of like it's like mid-level. Next we have golf. Okay, I know how this is going to sound, but I'm actually going to put golf in C tier as well. I know you probably think, ugh, golf is useless. But listen, some of those guys can swing really hard. And far. And, it takes good concentration and upper body strength and, skill to do that. So I think that could be pretty useful. I can think of a few scenarios you'll want somebody who can take a swing pretty well. So I'm putting them in the C tier. All right, next we have shooting. Okay. This is another ammo one, which is hard because like fencing and archery, I feel like you're going to lose bullets. You're going to lose ammo. And unless you're some sort of survivalist who knows how to make your own bullets, you're kind of out of luck once you run out. I do feel like something like fencing would be a little better than both of them, so it is higher in the B tier. But for me, even though they're Olympians and accurate and that's great, everybody runs out of ammo at some time. So I'm still going to put it in the B tier with the others because I will arrange them though. So fencing will probably go first for me, then probably shooting, and then archery. Only because I feel like you can do a lot more damage shooting than you could with archery, but it depends on the kind of like the tip you have as well. But it's just my opinion. I'm not an expert, so. Okay, next we have judo and karate, which yes, I'm putting them together. So, I'm going to put them in A tier because just like athletics and boxing, I feel like you're pretty qualified to defend yourself. And also, people who take martial arts, they're like extremely in shape, can defend themselves, but also they're strong and agile. I mean, it's a skill set to be able to do that kind of stuff. So that's going A tier for sure for me. Here's one I don't think will be useful at all. And it's the trampoline. I didn't even know that was an Olympic event, to be honest. Okay. But that's going straight in F tier with synchronized swimming. I mean, unless there's some sort of outbreak in a trampoline park, I don't really see this being something valuable. And I'm sure that they have great strength in their legs to be hopping and jumping and flipping through the air. But I just don't think that would be valuable in the end of days scenario that I'm making up for this situation. So they're going in F tier. Sorry, athletes. All right. Rugby. Well, we're putting rugby players to the top. I want to say rugby players for me, hear me out, they're going in S tier, okay? They're our first S tier. Why? Have you seen rugby? Have you seen rugby players? Have you? Because, wow. I would like a whole team of rugby players just as bodyguards. Like, I'm just saying. They're tough. There's nothing to worry about when you have that. So yeah, I'm not going to explain myself. They're going in S tier at the end. Okay. Wrestling. Wrestling is going in A tier with karate, boxing, and athletics because it's another one of those take care of yourself kind of self-defense things. So, yes, another useless one is surfing. And I say useless in the context of the end of days, not in general, okay? Like I said, with any of the swimming ones, unless it's a water world thing, I don't see some of these being useful at all. Surfing, great, you have balance, but I don't know how that helps me. Same with sailing would go in F tier as well. Although it would be kind of nice to have that skill set to be able to sail. You could just be like, get on a boat and leave, which could be good and bad. So you know what? Actually, I'm going to move sailing up to D with beach volleyball. Okay. Weightlifting. Weightlifting, I'm going to put in B tier because I feel like, yes, weightlifters, super strong dudes and dudettes, excuse me, very strong people, but I don't feel like it's a very well-rounded skill set that they have. I feel like, and maybe this is just narrow-minded of me, but I feel like they're just strong, you know? So we're going to put them in a B tier. I feel like that's a good place for them. Okay, so next we have skateboarding, which I had no idea was a thing. Cool. I'm going to put skateboarding in D tier just because I feel like much like surfing, it's land surfing. That's all skateboarding is. It's land surfing. So maybe I'll put in F tier with surfing, actually. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but come on. I guess it's cool if you're trying to outrun something, but get a bicycle. You'll go into B tier. It'll be better. All right, what do we have next here? We have sports climbing. Okay. I think I'm going to put sports climbing in C tier just because, yes, it would be useful to be able to climb to get out of situations. Yes, they probably have great grip and strength to be able to do that. But it's, like I said before, it's probably not the most well-rounded set of skills to be surviving the end of days. So we're going to put that right in C tier with golf and soccer and horsies, because I feel like those all go together. All right. Do we have only a couple left here? So we have triathlon. And we also have biathlons. So we'll just call them the athlons. So those of you who don't know, triathlons and biathlons and all of that, it's usually a combination of things. So triathlon, for example, is like running, cycling, and swimming. Biathlon, I think, is the one that's usually in winter. That's like skiing and shooting. Don't quote me on that because I could be wrong. So I want to say, this is kind of hard. Okay, swimming's not the most useful. Cycling we've put in B. We haven't done running, but I would consider that like a general athletic. So I would almost say probably B tier for any of the triathlon guys. Because, I mean, if you're doing 3 events like that, you're strong, you're fast, you have great endurance. Obviously, you can hold your breath in water for a while, so good on you. Yeah, so we're going to put that right in B tier for me. So in S tier, we have rugby. And I just feel like that's a really well-rounded skill set. My favorite sentence right now. I really do. I think they have a lot of things it would take to survive in an end of days situation, you know? They're tough. Really tough. So rugby is S tier for me. It's the only S tier. Okay. A tier, we have general athletics, boxing, karate. I feel like not as rounded, you know, individually as rugby would be, but they're all really good. Self-defense, kind of strength, you know, you've got a good skill set there. Okay. B tier, we have badminton, table tennis, basketball, fencing, cycling, baseball, archery, shooting, weightlifting, and all of the athlons. Okay. If I had to pick a team, I would probably hang out with those guys. I'm not saying they wouldn't survive. I'm just saying they're probably not as great as others individually. Okay, C tier, we have all of the horsey adventures, soccer, golf, and sports climbing. D tier, beach volleyball and sailing, which ironically, beach, water, come on, it's perfect. And F tier, we have artistic synchronized swimming, trampoline, surfing, and skateboarding. So that's what I have. How would you change things? Is there something that you don't agree with? Or would you add something? Or, yeah, let me know in the comments because I'm really curious where you guys would put things. Yeah, just a weird thought that I had. And like I said, this is just my point of view as someone who kind of vaguely knows about sports in the Olympics and not in real life any other time because I'm not a sports person. I'm a sit at home with watercolors and reading person. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty good tier list. Maybe I'll take a screenshot and share it. Who knows? At any rate, I hope this has been a good distraction for you guys because it has been for me. I definitely needed to get myself back on the horse, as it were, and record another episode. It's been entirely too long. Just health-wise and life-wise, things have been slapping me in the face back and forth. So I am really hoping to get more on a regular schedule again. I do miss having episodes come out every week. But I don't know, it was kind of fun just to be a little silly with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you're all doing well and taking care of yourself. I think that's going to be it for this episode. So just remember that you are part of this vast, beautiful universe, and that your journey is uniquely yours. Until next time, keep dreaming, take care of your beautiful selves, good night, and may the moonlight guide you.